Welcome back to Lord of the Rings Theory. In part 1, we explored how Aragorn survived his colossal fall when a warg he was bound to charged directly towards a precipice. He was saved by the Evenstar. Due to the stone having the power of healing, in the films, we know that the Evenstar is a like-for-like replacement of the Elfstone. Since Aragorn was not wearing the Evenstar for his fall, I thought it would be interesting to explore other possible theories on his survival. Since we often see in the adaptations characters which survive falls which they ought not to, it is entirely possible that this is just another one of those examples. Perhaps there is even an on-screen explanation for this. When we see the warg charge off the abyss, Aragorn is still attached to him. The ranger could have very well landed on top of the wolf, who absorbed the impact of the collision. Aragorn, being a Dunedain warrior, was obviously beyond robust compared to the average man, so this could have been an explanation for him surviving the mammoth drop. When Aragorn is unconscious, and whether he survived is questionable, although we all know he was always going to endure, we see a translucent vision of Arduin kissing Aragorn. This could have been a vivid dream, or plausibly something more. Arduin whispers something quite notable to Aragorn.
May the grace of the Valor protect you.
This statement could very well be the explanation of how Aragorn survived. After all, it was included in the films for a specific reason, and since the entire involvement of Aragorn's fall was exclusive to the films and not the books, it is entirely possible that Peter Jackson and company wanted to provide an explanation to the question in which they provided. Harkening back to part 1, I spoke a bit about the reason Aragorn managed to survive. However, the Evenstar was snatched from the ranger moments before his tumble. If you've seen part 1, we know that aside from the fact that you're a true fan, the Elfstone, also known as a Lesser, possessed the light of the sun and offered its wearer a protection of healing. So was the Elfstone's light infused within Aragorn? There is no canon evidence for this, although Arwen did choose to provide the stone to Aragorn specifically. The Valar, being knowledgeable and powerful beings, would have understood that Aragorn was chosen and their grace was with him. So, if the grace of the Valar saved Aragorn and not the Evenstar, does this make Aragorn's survival alike to Gandalf's? If you're unaware of Gandalf's transformation from grey to white, Gandalf the Grey's life ceased. He was then saved by Eärl, the god of Tolkien's universe. Eärl understands that Gandalf still had a purpose, and he was the sole member of the Astari who had stayed true to his mission, which was to defeat Sauron. Eärl enhanced Gandalf's soul and returned him into his bodily vessel. Now, I'm not claiming Aragorn's soul was enhanced. However, if his life was deceased, and the Valar did restore his life essence, then the story of Aragorn and Gandalf are not entirely disparate. The main difference being, Eärl revived Gandalf's soul, as opposed to Aragorn, who had his essence renewed by the Valar. And of course, he did not return as Aragorn the White. Arwen presenting her Evenstar in the films may represent something quite lovely. When she gifts him her necklace, she claims,
I choose a mortal life.
ultimately meaning that she has sacrificed her elven immortality for Aragorn. This harkens back to a romance in the First Age, consisting of Beren and Luthien.
'Tis the lay of Luthien, the elf maiden who gave her love to Beren, a mortal.
What happened to her?
She died.
Beren was a mortal man who sought the approval of Luthien's father, Thingol, who was the king of Doriath. Thingol, who refused to grant her daughter's hand in marriage unless Beren was able to retrieve a Silmaril jewel from the Iron Crown of Morgoth, which was a seemingly impossible task. In the process of obtaining the Silmaril, Beren received wounds, leading to his fatality. Luthien's love for Beren was so strong that upon hearing of his death, she laid down and her life deceased, which is similar to Arwen's death after Aragorn's passing. Luthien's soul went to Valinor, more specifically to a Valor named Mandos, who in the halls of Mandos was responsible for the judgment of the spirits of the dead elves. Luthien managed to charm Mandos into granting her a wish. Both she and Beren were phenomenally restored to life, but both of them would live as mortals. I'll cover the story of Beren and Luthien in more detail in another video some other time. The story of Arduin and Aragorn is remarkably similar to Beren and Luthien, with the Evenstar representing Arwen's love and her forsaking of immortality for Aragorn. This is perhaps the strongest theory, which ultimately claims that the Valor is what protected the future King of Gondor. It would have been better illustrated, however, if the Orc did not snatch the Evenstar jewel from Aragorn, which possessed the light of the sun from the Undying Lands. I believe this was implemented so his companions would fear that the words of the Orc were true.
He's dead. A little tumble off the cliff.
You lie.
Peter Jackson and co. could have simply left Aragorn's knife in the creature, which would have arguably delivered the same message. If anything, the Orc who possessed the gem should have had his wounds healed from the Evenstar, considering he was technically the possessor of the jewel at the time of his wound. Wouldn't that have been, well, sad? Tell me what you believe the official theory of this is in the comments section below. That's it from me, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to like, as it helps the algorithms. Also, if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe so I can hit 1,000 subs sooner rather than later. That would mean I am monetized and I'll be able to pump out more content more often. As always, my Middle-earth friends, Hanonle for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of Lord of the Rings Theory. Namari.
Embrace the power of the ring, or embrace your own destruction.
Renew